Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hello there, good people. We are back. We are back. We are back for another episode of the journey of entrepreneurship. On this show, we talk about the things that probably no one else wants to talk about in terms of what it looks like to really start your business. The real journey of entrepreneurship is one where we speak with other entrepreneurs who have the full courage to say, hey, this is my process. I did not get rich overnight, or I'm still working on my dream. And here you go. This is the process. And so the beauty about this space is that I learn just as probably much as the member who comes on and says, you know what, I'm going to tell you about my process. And in this space, we are really grateful for those who have the courage to come in and share their process. I am Anita Pierce, the host and the producer of The Real Journey of the Entrepreneur. We are in season number number three. And for those who have been watching, The Real Journey of the Entrepreneur started off because someone dared me to, to continue this process. And I didn't want to, lose money because I was just really, I needed the money. It was a significant couple of $100, but you know, here we are in season 3, and it has been an awesome, awesome, awesome process to be able to share, to grow, and to learn with a new community that's being developed as a result of those stepping into this space to share. As I always say, the space of entrepreneurship is really dope, yet it's met with real life growth challenges, ones that we want to share with you. So I want to say that I have the best seat in the house. Why? Because I get to peer into the space, the lives of those who have the courage to pursue their dreams. They have the courage to say, you know what? I'm going to take whatever I have on that piece of paper, on my vision board, or within my phone to say, you know what? I'm going to take action off the paper, out of my head, and put it into this space in this world. So today is no different. I am going to be interviewing another super powerhouse that is in the space of asset management. Now, I know that you want to know as a business owner the importance of managing our resources, starting out, what does that look like in terms of management of all of our finances? Is it important? Well, guess what? We're going to find out today. Dani Hughes is the founding partner of Divine Asset Management, and has over 26 years of experience on Wall Street as a trader, investment banker, and a thought leader. So, guess what? You don't need anything else from me. Let's just bring Dani to the table, because when we start talking about finances, I know y'all like to disappear in the back and hide and all that other stuff. But this is the table where we're going to have a dynamic discussion and to help us to grow and to become better at our financial resources. Hey, Dani, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for that amazing intro.
Awesome, amazing. And can you imagine when you're reading your bio? Do you go, is that me?
I'm always like, who is that? That's not me. I'm actually the one that didn't do it right. I think we all have that, right? The imposter syndrome thing going on. But yeah, it's actually more than 26 years now. It's 30
Oh
30
wow.
years on Wall Street. Yeah. Too
Okay.
long.
Okay, Dani. Okay. Okay. So here, let's do this. I am going to have you jump right in and describe what is it that you do. Tell us what you do.
Sure. So I have many hats that I wear. Every entrepreneur does. But mainly what I do is I help guide people towards their need. So if that need is capital, if that need is direction, if that need is investment strategy, that is essentially what my role is. But I have two job titles. I'm the president of a broker dealer called Samblas Securities, which is based out of Atlanta, and I run that investment banking practice where I raise money for companies that range from, doing maybe $2 million in revenue all the way up to $100 million in revenue. And we either take them public or we raise money for companies that are private. And then on the Divine Asset side, I'm a co-founder of that company with my partner, Val Sanchez. And she and I started in the business together on Wall Street on the same trading desk. That's how we know each other. And our focus is really on empowering women around money because because we are the future and we are the ones to create the new economy. And we want to throw out that welcome mat for women, especially to really create the future that we live into.
So I'm gonna start with this thing because we do share that I was not on the trading desk, but I did work in financial services for quite a long time. Why did you transition to start your own business from financial services to where you are now? That's me being just nosy.
No, that's a great question. That's a really great question. I mean, how I even got into the industry is pretty ridiculous. I was bar. I'm sorry. I think I lost you there.
Oh, okay, you're here.
Okay, sorry about that. So I started out as a bartender, and some guy said to me, "You'd be a great stockbroker." And I was like, "What's a stockbroker?" And I ended up, those boiler room movies. That's where I worked. I worked at a boiler room. I had no idea I was at a boiler room, but I happened to be really good at it because I was a woman. A woman's voice on the phone was much less intimidating than a guy. And I certainly wasn't telling men to not ask their wife. Don't go ask your wife about this investment. Um, I got onto a trading desk by a fluke. At that time, it was really hard to break into finance, especially on Wall Street. And I ended up getting a job just because I had my licenses and because I was willing to be the third assistant to the trader,
Mm.
which basically meant, get the guy coffees, get the lunches and so forth. Um, I worked my way up. I became a vice president there. I was the first woman to have my own list at that firm, meaning that I traded my own stocks. I traded about 400 different stocks at that time. And the reason that I started my own firm was because I had a huge chip on my shoulder. I was like, all of these bros, like, are a bunch of idiots. And if they can do it, like, how come I can't do it? I mean,
Mm.
if this guy, like the guy that used to come in, who owned the firm, he'd come in the morning with his coffee cup full of white wine and he'd say, "So, Jessica, how did we do yesterday? And I'm like, there's 3 women on this desk, and you don't know my name is Dani because I'm like your biggest producer, you know? So I was like, goodness, if he can do it, then I can do it. And I knew nothing about running a broker dealer. I knew zero. I just knew I was a good trader and I had a complete chip on my shoulder. So that's why I started my own business, which has nothing to do with, saving the world. I just had this, like, I had to prove something to myself.
I'm glad you did, but still, wow. Um, so let's talk about, right? So what was some of your initial costs when you transitioned into that space?
Sure. So, in order to buy a broker dealer, you have to have, and this was back in 1999. So, you had to have a considerable amount of capital in order to buy the broker dealer license or start one from scratch. But at that time, starting it from scratch took a really long time. But buying one was a little bit more accessible because as long as you had the capital and you went through the interview process, it was a glorified interview process with the NASD, which is now FINRA, then you could ultimately own it. But I did need a money partner at the time. And so one of my clients had offered to be, kind of the money partner. So he wasn't the operational partner, he was the money guy. And I was the operating partner who also put capital in. So we found a broker dealer that was in Texas, in Fort Worth, Texas, and it was for sale for about $280,000 or something like that. I put up some capital. I think I had maybe 50 or 60,000 at the time, and the other partner put the rest up in order to buy that firm. Then I had to open up an office in New York City because that's where I was. I was certainly not going to go down to Fort Worth, Texas, and operate from there. So I found a small office space at 30 Broad Street, which is right next to the New York Stock Exchange. And I think my rent was something like $3,500 a month. And they gave me some money towards revamping the office. It was a closet. It was basically a closet. It was tiny. But I didn't know anything about anything. I had no idea how to get the work done on the office. And I had no idea how to figure out how to get the desks in there that I needed to support the systems that I had to put there. So it was really a lot of using the network that I had at the time. And mind you, this was before Facebook and LinkedIn and all that stuff. This was literally making phone calls to guys that I knew that might have access to a desk and might know how to get somebody in here to fix this wall. So a lot of what I did at the time was a straight up scramble. Scrappiness won the day. Like, the fact that I didn't know what I was doing was actually a gift, a huge gift, and a superpower. Because if I had known all of that stuff, I never would have embarked on that journey. I would have been like, that's way too much work for me. I'm not doing that, But because I didn't know, I was willing to engage with every single thing that was on that plate, throw every single thing that was on that wall. So the investment was buying the broker dealer, making sure I had the licenses that I needed. Then I had to hire some people. I needed somebody to answer the phones because there was voicemail, but there wasn't, all the stuff that we have now. So I needed an office manager, and then I needed a trading assistant. I needed somebody who could, work the machines while I was handling the customers or taking the calls. So I managed to find some really amazing women. And at that time, there were no women-owned. I mean, there were a couple of women-owned broker dealers. There were just a very few, but there was no female-only trading desk. So we had like 3 or 4 women on my trading desk at one point. And the name of the firm was called Divine Capital Markets. So it's different than the firm that I have now, which is Divine Asset. But Divine Capital Markets, when you're a market maker, which is what we were at first, you need a 4-letter acronym. So Merrill Lynch was MLCO and JP Morgan was JPMS, and everybody had their own 4-letter acronym. So for Divine, I couldn't figure out what it should be. I didn't want it to be Dive. And I remember calling a customer of mine, and he's like, "That's easy, Diva. You're a bunch of divas." So our acronym was Diva, and I gained so much pleasure, Anita, for the 20 years that I ran that firm, hearing the men on the phone saying, yeah, we're Diva. This is Diva. It was just such a gift from God. But that was really how I started up the business at the time. And I ended up buying out my partners on September 6th, 2001. September 6th, 2001. We were 2 blocks away from the World Trade Center. And it was a battle. Like it was a very contentious takeover. But we ended up buying them out, getting everything signed. It was in the middle of a FINRA audit at the time too. And there was a lot of screaming and yelling. People came to visit me from Texas, telling them that they were going to kick my ass. Excuse my language. But I was like, please get out of my office. Go away. I'm from New York, you know. And then 9/11 happened, you know, a few days later. And as I'm running from the financial district that day, you know, all that was, I mean, there was so much going on in my head, obviously. But one of the things was, oh, my timing was not perfect there. Buying that firm at that time was not the smartest thing I ever did. But it ended up being the smartest thing I ever did. It really was.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So to say that you have stepped into the space of financial services with high heels on and focus is an understatement. Um, and I can tell you, I mean, while I didn't go that route, I can tell you, and I definitely understand for sure, like some of the challenges that women experience within that space of financial services. It is not for the faint of heart.
Oh, wait, that's so true.
It's not. It's not for
It's
the
not. There's so few women in that side of the business. And the reason is because it's hardcore. You know, I used to go in some days to the trading desk wearing a dress or a skirt. And one of the guys would always say, oh, I didn't know it was sexual harassment day. And then they would launch, you know, into whatever they were going to say. But the reason that I think that and there's no doubt I enjoyed the environment. I enjoyed the craziness that would go on. It was fun for me because I gave it out just as much as I took it, and probably more than that. You know, I would tell the guys, you know, I'd scream across the room that somebody had to, that guy had to pull his tights up in order to trade. You know, it was that kind of an environment. There was no PC anything, you know. And there was no crying on the trading desk. The minute you cry on the trading desk, you got to leave.
Yeah, you got to leave. You got to go. And so in transitioning from, your starting phase, I and understanding and working with startups, what phase should business owner consider financial planning from your perspective?
Yeah, I think from the absolute beginning. But again, you know, I think knowing way too much about what things are going to cost doesn't really serve you, because really when you think about how much it costs to run a business and how sometimes when you're you're not always going to be profitable. There are times when you are just going to have to write the check over here and write the check over here and not be taking it in. So you have to understand um, there's a level of adventure that if you are not up for that, then it's not for you. You know, it's not for the faint of heart. So I do think that planning financially is critical. Knowing your business model inside and out is absolutely the most important thing that you need to do. And you have to have a number of different profit centers. If you are a one-trick pony, you are going to last as long as that trick is on. And then when it's over, your whole business is over. So you need to have different aspects of your business that bring in income streams that don't have anything to do with each other. And you've learned this through many I mean, we've gone through this so many times with different once in a lifetime events that are not once in a lifetime. They're once every 5 or 10 years. So knowing that you're going to hit the rocks, you need to have those different profit centers. That's absolutely critical. So I learned that because I was a one-trick pony. All I did was market making, which meant that I was the middleman for the buyers and sellers. So Merrill Lynch wanted to sell, and I would find, that Prudential Base wanted to buy. So I was essentially the middleman as a market maker, and that's all the business that I had. And after 9/11, it was really, really busy. I had the best financial month ever in October of 2001. But by February of 2002, the bottom fell out and everybody stepped away from trading and nobody wanted to take risk anymore and nobody wanted to do anything anymore. So as a market maker, I was holding all this inventory. I was short this and long that, and I had nowhere to go with any of that. So I was basically this bloated market maker with nowhere to go. So what I ended up doing by the grace of God is I met a bunch of people who came from a firm that was in the second tower, and they joined me with an institutional research product and institutional sales. So we ended up building that piece of the business out together and living to see another day. But I didn't have that knowledge to have the different profit centers when I launched. Had I done that, I think I probably would have had some other pieces in place and that would have been a lot more comfortable.
Wow. Okay. So trying to think, where do I go? I'm curious, right? So there are a lot of financial terms that I understand,
Mhm.
but there are many that may not understand us. So financial planning, what is it and what's the difference between that and also wealth management or asset management?
Those are great questions. So, financial planning is generally a term that is used for retail people. So, people who have a family, or they're, just launching their job, or they're actually figuring out how they can retire. So, a financial planner will work with you and help you figure out how to best plan for your future. And it incorporates things like insurance, it incorporates things like savings, paying down debt, and then investing your money. So financial planning for people is a little bit different than planning for businesses. For businesses, it's a bigger scale because you want to maybe raise capital, or you want to figure out how you can enhance your team, or things like that. So it's a little bit more complex. Wealth management and asset management are very similar, but wealth management has to do with um, really retail again. So it's like the moms and pop investors that are figuring out what to do with their wealth. So investing either in the markets, or investing in bonds, or investing in crypto. Wealth management is really about building and maintaining your wealth. Asset management is more on a commercial scale. So asset management is really for corporations and businesses that are managing their assets. So that can be an asset manager is actually managing multiple humans and multiple corporations and managing their assets. So that's what an asset manager. So wealth management is kind of retail. Asset management is wholesale.
And so as business owners, right, and thinking and connecting within that space, the best approach in selecting the right relationship with someone to help them to manage the process would be what? What do you recommend?
So let's bring it all the way down to just something that every single person should know, whether you own a business or you don't own a business, or if you're never going to own a business, to whether you're managing, hundreds of people. Um, any kind of relationship that you have with somebody around money, whether that's managing your money, whether that's a mortgage, whether that's, leasing a car, it's a partnership. You need to have the kind of feeling that you would have in a partnership with the person who is representing you. So that means that, because you can't know everything. As women, we think that, like, before I'm going to embark on that, I need to know absolutely everything, and we get defeated because it's not possible. It's not possible. I've been 30 years on Wall Street, and there's so much that I don't know. There's more that I don't know every day. But It's because I have relationships with people, partnerships that I trust, and I know that person knows that thing that I don't know. So I can rely on them. So it's the same exact thing with anything financial in your life. Find a relationship, a partner who's going to look out for your best interests, who you know that you can talk to, you can ask all the questions. Because when you're feeling like you can't ask a question, or you're feeling like, oh gosh, I should know this, I'm going to feel stupid saying this, that's not the partner for you. You need to have a partner that you can say, okay, what the heck does that mean? Or why should that matter to me? Or why do I need to do this now? So that's number one. And, now answering your question of at what point do you need like that kind of guide or advisorship? I think you need it throughout the journey of your business, because you need to make sure that you've got all of those checks and balances in place in order to build the kind of business that you want to build. Not everybody wants a $1 billion business, not everybody. But a lot of people want a business that can feed their families and that they can pass on to either their children or some of the people that they work with or work for them. So it's a really good idea to have those partnerships in place to help you figure out how to manage that future expectation for your business.
That is so awesome. But you said some key points, and you mentioned this earlier, and which leads me to my next question, which is primarily about business collaborations and also networks.
Yes.
What's your best approach with that? Network and also collaborations.
Yes. So networks are critical. A lot of times people will have networks with through LinkedIn and call that a network, but that's not a network. I mean, it's a great start, but it's really not your network. Your network is people that you're actually communicating with, that you feel comfortable sharing not just the highs, but the lows and everything in between and all the questions that you have. So a really good network would encompass, all of the things that are important to you in your business and in your life. So you can write down maybe your top 5 desires of, the people, the experts that you'd want to have in your life. So I want to have an expert who is amazing with, let's just say, legacy. So somebody who's an estate planner and a lawyer. So I'm going to write that down. And then I'm going to find out who in my network does that. Do I trust that person? Let me take that person out to lunch. Let me create a relationship with them. So those kinds of one-on-one relationships that help you build your circle of influence are absolutely critical. And then as far as having like a larger network that you can not only bring to bear your business and share opportunities with, but also learn from, I recommend having a network that you belong to that is in your wheelhouse, but they don't do what you do. So for example, you and I serve on the board of Hudson Valley Women in Business. It's an amazing, dynamic group of women who do everything and then some, right? I've also belonged to the Women's Presidents Organization, which is a peer advisory group. So it's not people trying to do business with each other, it's people learning from each other. And oftentimes, even though I don't do exactly what Sally does, who heads up a marketing business, we have the same pain points. We have employees, we have sales initiatives, we have desires to give our employees 401ks. So all of these things we can learn collectively and really help build our businesses to the next level.
That is so true. And I appreciate you sharing that. So we're at like the close of our conversation, and it goes so quickly when you are getting and sharing wonderful information. But before we wrap, what are some realistic tips if someone is really interested in transitioning into your line of business? What realistic tips can you offer them?
So I think that being licensed is really important. I think that whether that licensure is being a CFP, a certified financial planner, which I am not, having a Series 7 and Series 63, which are some of the licenses that I do have. I have like an alphabet soup of licenses, or that wouldn't make sense. It would be like a number soup of licenses. But being licensed gives you, number one, the knowledge base, and number two, the credibility. And then find some people that you admire, whether they're way up on the Richter scale and you're not like networked with them, but you admire what they're doing. And then some people who are doing what you're doing locally, and reach out to them. Don't say pick your brain, because that's a thing that like everybody now is like, no, you cannot pick my brain. But I think that you can offer something to those people and say, I'd love to learn more from you. I'd love to shadow you. I'd love to see if I can offer you my time and services in return for some information on how you've built your business. So I think those things are a great way, and we need more women in financial services. Oh my goodness gracious. If we are going to build the future that we need to have, we need more women talking about money and money muscle. And the thing about women and money is that they all go like, oh, I don't understand anything about that. It's too much. I don't have, my husband does that for me. My dad does that for me. This is not true. We understand value. We do the shopping. We do the things that we understand what is a good purchase and a bad purchase. That's what money is. That's exactly what investing is. It's about value and it's about time. So those are things that women 100% have access to. And we should not take the party line that, women aren't equipped for this industry, because in fact, that's a farce. We are 100% much better equipped than our male counterparts. God bless them, but I think that women are much better at this business than men are. It's the truth. It's the truth.
It is the truth. It really is. I am, I have a 7-year-old little person, and we talk about our relationship with money. And I think having those conversations, to your point about creating a real pipeline, that there is an interest in the industry itself instead of fearing it, is important. So for me, starting with having basic conversations about
Yes.
where does your money go, or when we purchase those shoes, how are we contributing to that organization's bottom line that can increase or decrease their price in their stock. So something to think about.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes, yes, yes.
something to think about. So here are your wonderful tips that I was able to type down just a little bit, just a little bit. Become credible with licenses, touch base with those who you admire, and talk more. And don't be afraid of talking about money, because it's really important to share in those spaces. So,
Yes.
in
Exactly.
wrapping, I got some rapid one word questions.
Okay. So
You
I
ready?
give you one word. I give you one word responses.
One word.
Okay.
What do you do in your spare time?
Read.
What do you do in your downtime?
Kids.
How do you manage your personal wellness?
Meditate.
Pizzas or burgers?
Pizza.
Smoothies or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Sneakers or shoes?
Sneakers.
You said you was from New York. Where are you from?
Long Island. Long Island. Zoll. Love your hair. From Long Island.
In 3 years, and this is not one word, what will change within the community that you are serving?
We will feel more powerful around all things economic, and we won't be afraid.
Hmm. What is a legacy that you would like to leave for your family?
I've been writing books for my children, just little, you know, tidbits of things when I think of them, for each of them separately in their own little book. And it's not much, but I feel like if I had that from my ancestors, oh, I'd have so many answers. Maybe of what not to do, but I would have so many answers.
Wow. That's really encouraging. And
Well, I
probably
mean, one
very
thing,
smart.
Anita, I wanted to just say too is that, like, legacy is not just money. Wealth is not just about money. Wealth is like love. My kids, when they were little, they would ask, are we rich? And I would say, we are so rich. We are so rich with love, because you can't go to the store or go to a job and make love come down. You know, that is so wealthy to have love. And having money and creating money is a skill that you can learn and you can teach yourself and others can teach you. And love is too, but understanding that love is such a big piece of the wealth factor. That's another big teachable thing that I'd love to share. And I just did. So
Wow. And on that note, where can we find you, Divine Asset Management?
we are digital. Divine Asset MGT. Divine is spelled with an I. And you can find us on TikTok, IG, and Facebook under Divine Asset or Divine Asset MGT.
And so what's also awesome is that if you're also looking for both Dani and I, you can also catch us at Hudson Valley Women in Business. You can please check out hudsonvalleywomeninbusiness.com to learn more about membership, how to become a member, what do we do there. It is an amazing organization where we are supporting other business owners who just so happen to be women, because women do business differently. And I don't care what anyone says, it's very true. So,
Mm-hmm.
on that note, Dani, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Your story is one that should be repeated often and told often. And so I am excited to have shared this time and space with you. Hopefully, you join us again and again and again at some point in the near future. This was amazing. And thank you for joining the real journey of entrepreneurship. You are so amazing.
Thank you, Anita. It was such an honor. Thank you.
All right. And so again, if you are looking to connect with Dani, her information is there. I'm going to give Dani some virtual hugs so she can go about her day because she's been so wonderful to me. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All
See you
right.
soon.
Okay. And so, again, what is so awesome and amazing is that we do have individuals who are in a wide variety of spaces that are really, really making changes in spaces that they are doing wonderful. Dani just happens to be in a space of financial services, specifically helping to support other small businesses in their space. So if you want to check out her business, there you go, right there. And also, we both sit in the space of advisors for Hudson Valley Women in Business. Again, please check us out. You'll catch us there and within our businesses as well. And the beauty about this space is that we have, opportunities to be able to share, grow, and learn. As always, I like to be able to share, other resources that are available to all. So if you are looking for other ways to connect, that Dani mentioned in the spaces of networking, creating, and building, there are other organizations and places where you can land in different spaces. You have a number of chambers of commerce, all within the five boroughs, upstate New York. They are all over the place. And if you are interested, there you have it. There are numbers of ways to get connected. So you cannot say that we did not tell you so. I want to also, make sure that you are aware that, when you are entering into a variety of different spaces, encouraging you to add value, not just take away. To be able to share whatever gifts and talents that you have because they are embedded in you for a reason. And what does that look like? Only you would know, as you will have the courage to move, and as your vision grows, you will have the courage to grow as well. So I want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to join the real journey of the entrepreneur. The conversation with Dani was rich and fruitful. Make sure you share it, Make sure you check out her business, Divine Asset Management, and find ways to make referrals and also to support the work that Dani and her team is doing. I am signing out, Anita Pierce of 11375. I look forward to seeing you on another episode of the Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. We are excited to share with you all that individuals are doing as they have the courage to step into entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the owner of a New York-based MWBE certified business consultancy. We focus on business education for startups, and we also connect mid-sized companies, corporations, community-based organizations, and government agencies to foster affordable solutions that will allow your business to flourish. We elevate the awareness of our communities with regards to financial, mental, and also economic wellness. Some of our services include project management, training and facilitation, stakeholder engagement, and also advocacy within the business community. If you're interested in some of our services or all of them, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're on all of the social platforms at 11375, or you can check us out at our website at 11375.com. We look forward to supporting you and your business goals.